Hello again. Do you want to know why you feel at a disadvantage right now?
Because I didn't know you existed until today?
Because you're standing below me. In about 60 seconds, your mother's gonna tell you that I'm gonna be staying here for a while, but I want it to be your decision too.
Why?
Because it's important to me.
You seem to work consistently with really interesting filmmakers. It seems to me that that's as much a part of your decision-making process as what you're looking at in the script, or am I wrong?
Yeah, definitely. You know, if the person who's creating the world that you're going to act in, if they have a strong vision, it only like enhances the strength with which you can, strengthen the view that you have on your character as well. So if you can work with a director who is able to do that continually, it's like the most ideal situation. So for sure the director is like most important. And I've been super lucky to work with like the directors that I have worked with, but that's definitely like the top sort of thing, as well as the character obviously and the cast. But
what about the sound of your voice in terms of the little bit of Australia that I hear?
Yeah.
Is that as much Australia in you as there is in Nicole Kidman when she's just talking naturally?
Yeah.
If I shook you and at
would more
3 a.m. would more come out? I don't know.
I don't know. My accent is sort of I don't know, like it's kind of an amalgamation of some different cultures, I guess. But I don't know that I had a really, really strong one anyway, but I definitely have to use an American accent often and an English one often. And
who am I?
I know, but
who am I today?
It's more consistent now. It was like, a year ago when I was talking normally, it would be like a bit American and a bit English and a bit Australian.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's getting more consistent maybe.
How do you deal then with the validation that you get from people, not just critics, but to have Meryl Streep win an Oscar for playing Margaret Thatcher and say, what about Mia Wasikowska in Jane Eyre? What does that do to you when you're hearing that?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty amazing. That was pretty
Is it
wonderful.
amazing? What do you ever get nervous to the point where you can't speak?
Yeah, I think like I'm in general a pretty I don't know, it's like, films and this reality is very different to where I've grown up, so, and it's only really something I kind of dip in and out of. So at the beginning when I'm starting a press tour again, or it's always a process of like finding my feet again and how I, how I do in these kind of situations. But I do get like nervous about, the public side of this stuff.
Well, I'm going to ask you in closing about Stoker, and I'm going to ask you not what you think is the best scene in the movie or anything, but I'm talking about the process of you as an actor watching you on the screen.
Right.
Is there, I'm not even saying a whole scene, is there 30 seconds or 60 seconds in that movie where you can look at you and say in that moment that pleased you as an actor doing it and that it resonates for you still?
Yeah, it's just such a hard thing because it's hard to look at something you're so closely a part of objectively, but
that's just me, I'm cruel. I just ask that kind of
But
question.
I did like the piano scene because it was always written in a really intense way. It was like a page and a half of really very descriptive writing of this kind of climactic piano duet between India and Uncle Charlie. And when you're filming it, it's always sort of so cut up that you're never quite sure if there's like the same intensity there. But I think when I saw the film, I was happy that it seemed like we had achieved that same feeling that was in the script, because I do remember reading the script, and that part particularly stood out for me, and hoping that that would translate.
And sometimes we're just seeing you from the back, you know,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
just, it's this posture that's
Yeah.
doing all of this. So
Yeah.
what about you in the end? What do you do when you're not doing all of this?
I still live in Australia, so I go home there and just hang out with my family and sort through like photos, or I don't know, it's pretty simple, it's pretty quiet. I'm about to...
Do you listen to music?
I do, I love music.
What's your favorite kind now?
Well, right now I love Rodriguez, of course.
Searching for Sugar Man did it, yeah.
I just love him. And then I also really like, Lee Hazelwood and Nancy Sinatra recently came on.
Well, because there it is.
I know they are in it, but
Yeah.
even before I knew they were in the film, my friend had introduced me to it, and we were listening to them like all the time, and they're so brilliant. And I like Johnny Cash and Bob Dylan and Nina Simone, a lot of like older.
Well, you told me you're not singing those to yourself, so
No.
I'm not going to put you on that. Otherwise, you'd throw that popcorn on my head. Anyway,
I would.
But I thank you for being on the show, and I
thanks.
think everybody out there has got to see Stoker. So go, you
Cool.
heard it here. Thank you so
Thanks,
much, Mia.
Peter. Thank you.
That was good. So I bet you were doing Summer Wine, singing that constantly
I
on your way here in
was,
the
I
car.
was.
You know, it was just
I'm
all
gonna
there.
go
It's in the
and-
shower. It's all
Exactly.
happening. Yeah.